Here we go. It's time for another sprint zone. And this one's for 9:14. Pretty good sized group today, and the temperatures are really quite comfortable. We're talking about upper 70s. Kind of surprised there aren't more people there, but maybe some of them are going off to do the TTH. Notably missing is Matthew Michaels and Dean. Regardless, it's a pretty good sized group, and we are heading towards the sprint zone. I started this a little bit early because we have to make a detour through the neighborhood, and that's frankly what I want to talk about here. So all the way up County Road 5, the group is well ordered, and they're pretty much staying to the right side of the road. So we make this corner here into the neighborhood, and I don't know what's the issue here. Do people not understand where there should be a yellow line? But we're starting to get like all over the road. Yes, I know this is a neighborhood, but like some of us are just riding like in the gutter in the left side, and we're all over the place. I know there's nothing coming, but this is a really, really bad habit to get into. And some of the riders are looking like they're doing the right thing, but pretty much, and I've done this in the past before, not so much today, but I try not to be all the way to the left gutter. I mean, frankly, people, and I don't want to lecture here, but I'm just putting out an observation. As long as people are calling people out for being dangerous, there's really no excuse for this. There's no traffic. There's really no reason whatsoever that we need to have anybody across where the yellow line would be, and certainly not all the way to the left gutter. I mean, basically, this kind of speaks or reeks of entitlement. You know, I mean, if that yellow line was there, I seriously doubt we'd be doing that. And I suspect that has something to do with psychology. Any psychology people out there care to comment on this? But basically, it's a very, very bad habit to get into. And I think that's enough said about that. So, heading into the beginning of the sprint zone, and people are beginning to position themselves as usual. And the usual suspects that want to like kind of sag to the back, they kind of soft pedal so as they don't have an opportunity to catch too much wind. So today, my strategy is to take it easy for a couple of reasons. One, let's just see what this idea of no sprint zone up till after the corners goes. And I'm racing short track tonight, so I don't really need to have the extra. So this is what would be the beginning of the sprint zone, and we're doing a pedestrian 16, 17 miles an hour. And normally this would have been enough to just send me up the road, but today, let's just see how this goes. So we're pretty much well ordered. We got Ian up front, we got John up front, we got Eric, and it looks like Carrie sitting in there. And I'm going to make some usual comments here because, well, I do that. So take a look at Eric's jersey. See it flapping in the wind like that? I think you know what I'm going to say. Watts wasted. And I'm sure it's a nice jersey and everything, but either gain some more weight or get a tighter jersey because Watts are being out there and I expect to see you at the front. I get a lot of ribbing. People are like teasing me about my socks, about my handlebars, about my hair not being all that aerodynamic. But honestly, as far as the hair, you have to actually put that in the wind tunnel because studies have shown that women's braided hair actually gives you an aerodynamic advantage. But it's a nice try. But I digress. So 15 miles an hour, and yes, there is a pretty stiff headwind today. So that's maybe some of the explanation as to why we're going so slow. But I'm sitting in, 150, 100 watts. It's feeling pretty pedestrian for the most part. And like I said, if I wasn't racing later on tonight, I'd be a little antsy and I would have been like started this party. But let's just see how this goes. 17, 18 miles an hour as we head into the dangerous section. Now, I'm going to try not to be so sarcastic here. about how dangerous this is because we've only been doing this for 6 or 7 years, and I'm guessing that people haven't gotten used to it yet. So it looks like John takes up the mantle, driving the pace at 18, and it's good he's doing some work out front. He likes to have fun. I'm kind of sitting back, thinking to myself, and my inside voice was like, "This is so slow." And I'm looking at how people cornering. If this was hard cornering, people should be in their drops. No one's in their drops. They're all in their hoods. There's more gap in between there needs to be. I'm just thinking to myself, ugh. Um, I will not be participating in that slow list next time. I will do what I want, and I'm going to go off the front. And yes, you guys will probably catch me, but that was a whole mile slower than we were going up the warm up. So anyhow, people will start to ramp things up. I believe we have Carrie up front. Yep, starting to get the party, and then there goes Greg taking over for John. And looks like we got Marcel back in there, and people are starting to organize. So, I mean, normally there's not that many people together here, but pretty much everyone is here right now, whether they deserve to be or not. Um, in any case, I see Hernan out there. Hernan, you're really strong, but you don't need to be out in the wind that much. I mean, as far as like being smart, and you see everybody else in the line. I mean, a lot of the cycling is about being efficient and saving watts. And sitting out in the wind, well, honestly, isn't saving any watts. I mean, it will make you stronger, but a lot of this is a thinking man's game. Anyway, so there's the mantle. It looks like I think I might be up front, starting to do a little something, but I don't want to do a whole lot here. Although I must admit, I'm actually feeling pretty good today. A lot better than I thought I would be after Sunday's mountain bike race in Breck, which seemed like a lot of climbing, and I didn't think how my legs would be good. Regardless, I'm putting out some good wattage. Like pretty much my entire pole is above 300, so I'm happy. So now Byron takes over, but he's not ramming and a thumping. He's just keeping a pedestrian pace. But like I said, it's a pretty strong headwind, so this is why the speed is like only like 21. You see John behind, looking good. You got Marcelo, and I can see a lot of people. I see Isla back there. I mean, everyone is still here, which is a testament to, well, what happens when you go around that corner really slow and people are fresh. I see Scott back there. JVP is back there. Everyone's in a nice line, and they're pretty much out of the traffic because it's pretty much a straight headwind, which, for safety, it's good, but it's definitely keeping the group together. You can see my watch sitting in like aren't that high, but like I said before, I'll be racing tonight, so I'm like, not really invested here to put out too much wattage. It will be an interesting experiment because I'm planning on racing the single speed, which I did successfully, and it was a little under geared, but I felt good the entire time. But enough about me. So looks like Byron comes off the front. I suspect that it's Greg up there doing the lion's share of the work. Um, I'm not certain if a lot of people are trying to pull through or to get near the front, but they're pretty much happy just to sit in and suck wheel. So we come to this little riser here, and you can see a little punch of like 300 to 400 watts, coming up towards this little hill, and this might cause some people to be ejected. JVP out in the wind a little bit. Up front, Byron takes over from Greg, and Byron's just, he's pushing good wattage, but it's not like he's making people hurt like he did the week last week. So Greg's looking pretty strong. The jersey that Greg has chosen, and you can see the flapping and to this watts being bled off. Um, I mean, it's fine, right? Because it doesn't really matter, but it's just watts being bled off here. Speeds are still pretty good, 23. Byron's bringing it up a little bit, 24. So even though there is a headwind, Byron is putting out some good wattage here. Nice that Greg takes over, nice cadence. Speed still 23. I don't believe he's long for this one yet. Takes a nice short pull, kind of soft pedals off of there. He's working pretty hard. Now I take over, And I'm doing 250 watts, maybe get up to maybe 300 or so, close to it, maybe not. But I'm not gonna work hard. I am not pulling these fools all the way to the line without somebody doing some work. And so it's time to sort of get this rotation started. And Kerry's smart, and he follows suit. I mean, he could do the Superman thing, but let's get the rotation going. So John takes over, and this is a good thing. Now, I was kind of hoping that maybe John would pull over a little quicker and let everybody who's just sucking wheel get a little taste of the wind up front. But John's kind of doing the heroic thing, and he's staying out there, in my opinion, longer and slower than he needed to be. I would have gone shorter and harder, but hey, that's just me. So hanging in here behind Kerry, who's staying close to the front, JVP offers to let Kerry slot in ahead of him, which is a cheeky little trick to get out of doing some work. Because obviously, if you are further back, you're doing less work. Although I really don't understand why JVP is off to the right here, like in the wind a little bit. I don't know. Maybe there is some good draft there. Regardless, there's some debris in the road, and there is a combine or such up the road, which is causing people to slow down a little bit. So we got Marcel up front, who's riding pretty strong, riding for Giuliano for GCC, which is kind of cool. His charity, you can ping Marcelo about that. In any case, people are kind of strung out and they're moving towards the yellow line. So before people get upset and see us cross the yellow line, it's because there is a combine in the road, and this is just fine. Because I've had comments before about some still pictures, people complaining like, that's not a very good picture, look at that horrible, horrible, what are you guys doing? But context matters. So I'm just calling that out before people get their panties in a bunch. Once again, it looks like people are ramming up there. It looks like Scott might be at the front doing a good turn. JVP right behind him. It looks like a couple of the people that have done any work would be Eric and Mike in there, which, can't fault them. They're hanging in. But, if you're there week after week and you sit in and you make it to the end and your nose doesn't see the wind, you need to be sticking it into the wind, just for personal growth. So here goes a little bit of a surge. JVP does his little stint, but here goes Kerry, and I am going to follow suit here. And we can see those who are looking to be in the selection, the final selection, a ramming and a thumping. But with this headwind, everybody's going to be there. Looks like I'm pushing the upper 300s, and I take over for Kerry. And I'm not going to pull really long here, but I'm still feeling kind of good. So I'm going to keep a decent amount of wattage just to keep people honest. And if they don't go around, maybe I'll take this one. But if they do go around, I will at least make them earn it. So if I'm pushing 400 watts, Greg is pushing a lot just to get around me, which I think might have been a little too early because I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold that kind of wattage above 400. So Byron taking over quickly, Greg going for the sprint. There goes Marcelo. There goes Eric. There goes Mike. And at this point, I'm shutting it down because, well, I'm racing tonight and I've done my work for the day. Then you see JVP and Scott coming in here a little too late, but a nice sprint. I think it was good. Pretty safe. Kind of wish more people would have gone through, and done some work. I'm calling you guys out because you can't let the big men just do all of the work, because you get that wheel sucker mentality that like you're a follower and like not a leader. And I think once you stick your nose into the wind, you'll find that you do have the ability to get out there for a little bit and recover. Like as an example, I was behind Mike on the second sprint going up the hill where there's a little separation. I'm behind Mike. I'm doing over 400 watts. He's in front of me, must be doing that. Plus, he was taking the wind, and he pulled for a period of time that told me, homeboy, you're strong enough to be doing some work on this one. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Trying to make the group better, make the group faster, and build confidence in all of our riders. Anyway, a good time was had by all. The slow S turns, not for me. I won't be participating in any of that slowness anymore. unless of course I'm racing, um, in which case I might. But as far as personal growth and skill set, going around those corners at 18 miles an hour, you're not doing anybody any favors. It's just kind of dumbing down the ride a little bit. And I'm not afraid to stick my neck out and say it. And if everybody else thinks differently, like I said, it's the sprint zone. You can do whatever you want, and if that's what you want, so be it. But yeah, not for me. Regardless, a good time was had by all. Well done.